a rich man's world. I have turned the soul of this beautiful land, but that beautiful. Ain't no love in the heart of the city. Ain't no love in the heart of town. Ain't no love in the show of pity. Ain't no love 'cause you ain't around. When you were mine, oh, I was feeling so good. 'Cause you loved me up, this old neighborhood. Now that you're gone, you know the sun don't shine.
That thing leaked. The paper towels over here? I'm going to sit there with paper towels. I'll grab something back some quick.
Every place that I go, oh, it seems so strange. Without you there, things change.
You know I know. That one time that lady boy, she was trying to get up in here. All right.
You, my brother Daniel Kirby. What's up, Steve Abraham?
From the city hall to the county line, I said I ain't no love in the heart of the city. Ain't no love in the heart of town. Ain't no love to show in the pity. Ain't no love 'cause you ain't around. You ain't around. Ain't no love in the heart of the city. Ain't no love in this great big old town. Ain't no love, it ain't in a pity. Ain't no love, you ain't around. Ain't no love in the heart of the city.
Okay. Welcome to the Wheels and Hour Show. I'm your host, Michael Phelps from the Wheels and Hour Show. As I always state, Wheels and Hours is a communication group, and we are an informational group. What we talk about is things that we try to, what we see, what we believe that can help our community strategically. If we all took some of the things that we bring forth. I'm not saying that every thing that we talk about and every problem, the solution that we come up with is the best one, because sometimes, as a collective, someone might come up with a better solution. But as we speak, hopefully that many are thinking about solutions to healing our community. As I stated before, my name is Michael Phelps from the Wheels and Hour Group. We introduce yourself.
Raymond Carlisle.
Okay, you want to go ahead and give them the topic?
Okay, today's topic, the rabbit and the tortoise. If there is anything to be learned from this fairy tale, then what can we learn?
The reason why that one came to mind is because I be when I sit down, I talk to my my child, or I talk to my little cousins or little nieces or somebody, and or I talk to people in the community, young people in the community. It's always seems like there's some competition to get to somewhere, or they're always moving so fast and they forget that sometimes you have to take your time. And it also reminds me of the prodigal son as well. It's like we want everything now and overlook the fact that the inheritance is already stacked up for you, but you want it now, and you overlooking that you got there's due time and due process for you to get that. Mm-hmm. But why do you feel like you deserve it now? And we got that I deserve it now mentality, and that rabbit represents that. I deserve it now. I deserve it because I'm full of the energy. I'm full of all the things that you're not. Mm-hmm. But forget that we was him at one point in time too. Mm-hmm. What I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's the point that that's why I wanted to utilize this story, because it's a very interesting story. Slow and steady runs the race. Mm-hmm. Because you have time to calculate your movement, because you don't know you're jumping over hurdles, and you're in the wilderness. We're in the concrete jungle. You don't know what you're gonna run into. Mm-hmm. You don't know what lies ahead of you. Even though you are running fast, and you think that you think you're gonna run so fast you can jump over a big old hole. Mm-hmm. You think you can run so fast you ain't gonna get hit by a car. Mm-hmm. You think you can run that fast, but you think that that life is just gonna pass you by, and you just gonna be at the finish line in no time. Right. Even the rabbit got so cocky he had to take a break because he overtired himself. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, he was so cocky. He was so cocky that he figured I might as well take a break, and that turtle will never catch up with me. That's what he was thinking. Not realizing that slow and steady was his strategy that he was using. Oftentimes, we negate the process, or we neglect the process. It's the process is the most important part of getting somewhere. It's not, what I've heard someone say, success is not having attained a goal. Success is what you became along the way. And so when you think about that, as we go through life, there's a lot of things to be learned. But sometimes, as you were mentioning earlier, sometimes our young people, even adults, are too much in a hurry to learn along the way. They're too much in a hurry to enjoy or to learn from the process of getting to where they're going. I was listening to somebody the other day who was talking about they're about to take a trip to California. He says, "Well, I'm going to drive." He says, "Hey, I'm going to be stopping all along the way." He says, "I'm not in a hurry." He says, it's going to take me a few days to get there. He said, "Because I'm going to stop." And I just kind of took that in. What he was saying is like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy the scenery. I'm gonna enjoy along the way. I'm not gonna be in such a hurry. I'm gonna take naps. I'm gonna take little breaks and take it all in. Enjoy the experience along the way. Oftentimes we forget to enjoy the experience because to be in the rabbit mentality, everything's got, like you said, it's got to be right now. Yes. And if I don't want to take the time to gain the necessary experience or necessary knowledge or necessary understanding of what I need to understand or to know in order to be able to truly embrace what it is that I'm aiming for. So I'm gonna take shortcuts. And the funny part is that everything is not always got to be about competition. No. And the rabbit displayed it was about competition. The turtle didn't look at it as a competition. Mm-hmm. Turtle didn't see it as a competition. He just looked at it like, I'm going, no matter what goes on, even if I can't last, I'm going to finish. I'm going to get to the finish line. Exactly, I'm going to get there. What I mean? That was the key. Now he eventually won because the hare got too cocky. Right. And over exalted himself, so he took a nap. And with his pride and jealousy, being very prideful and very what's it called, zealous.
Yeah, and full of himself.
Full of himself. He felt like he can take this nap and the turtle would never catch up because he felt like he was miles and miles ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, he didn't realize that, you know, as long as the turtle believed that as long as I keep going, I'm going to win no matter what, even if I came in last.
Right.
That was the key. That was the most important part, and that's what we got to do. We got to teach our young people that no matter what, you don't got to have everything right now. You know, you're gonna get it. It just ain't gonna happen right now. It's gonna happen as you plan for your future, and as you constantly move towards your goal
Strategically.
just strategically and press towards the mark.
Yes.
You're going to get there, and that's what we got to focus on as being. And then we got to remember that some things are already inherited to you. That's what the prodigal son story is about. The inheritance is already there. He didn't have to go out and discover and find out what was going on in the world.
Right.
The world was already given to him. He just thought that he needed to go out and figure it out for himself. And yes, all of us young people, that's what we want to do. We want to figure out life for ourselves. We want to, why bump our head when we can listen to that turtle, which is the elder? We can listen to someone that already traveled down the same path that we about to go. You know, I didn't listen to my grandpa. I remember my grandpa used to get on us all the time. Oh, that old man, he just be talking. You know, we used to say that. You know, not we didn't say it to him. We would say it amongst each other and to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But as we got older, I started to think. I said, man, grandpa was right, and he was 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's sad I had to wait till I get old after I had to go through all these trials and tribulations. Now I can hear his voice telling me, grandson, you don't need, quit spending all your money. Save your money. What I was doing, spend it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you want to live for right now.
Well, you wanted to impress.
Yeah, you want to live for right now. You want to look good in front of everybody.
Right.
You want everybody to believe that you're the man, you something that you're not, like the prodigal son. We want to be fast. We want to go do it fast and get it quick, so we can just prove to who. To people that don't even give a damn about you at the end of the day.
Yeah, but that, a lot of that happened simply, especially when we were growing up, a lot of that happened simply because we found our value in other people. Our value wasn't in our value was not in ourselves. Our value was in others, what others thought of us and what we thought about them. So we thought that they were better than us. We thought they had more than us. Yes. So therefore we were trying to impress them. So to impress them, we were actually devaluing ourselves. Yes. So we didn't understand that to be in such a hurry to hurry up and attain things, just like back in the day, you had the young ladies that were in school, the real skinny ones, and then you had the ones that kind of filled out early in school, And it wasn't until you learn later. It's that the late bloomers were the best ones, because it's like in school while everybody else was filled out already and this, that, and the other. They walking around looking like little rails, but then later on in life, when they start to when their bodies finally caught up, they filled in just right, And then those who had it all early filled out real early. And they're those ones that end up being little heavier, or whatever the case may be.
Or had all that and end up having
10 kids. Because you think because it's like the guys who you thought seemed like they had all the women and like they always had it going on. All the girls were flocking around them, and then you were a late bloomer. You had nobody, and then later on, when you finally caught up, then those guys who thought they were cool seemed like they had everything quick, fast, without any work being done, are the ones that made quick decisions, didn't think about anything they were doing, and they either ended up in prison, ended up on drugs, not finishing school, whatever, dead, because they lived in a fast lane, So there was actually a benefit to being in the slower lane, and that was the benefit of the turtle, because the turtle actually learned some things along the way. But when but when you want to be fast, you don't enjoy anything.
You miss everything.
You miss everything.
You know, what I mean, and that was a good thing you brought up. You know, because that was very important. You know, us growing up, watching all of our uncles and the older men in the community, they always like they had all the women. And then today, you look at it, they all strung out. They all on drugs, and they ruined a lot of women. You know, because they had all the women. They ruined all the women. Then the women that filled up early got ruined because now they got 10, 11 kids, 9 kids, and no man now want them. Now they want the men that actually the late bloomers that are actually the successful men. Right. Right. And that's important. That's an important thing that we didn't probably pay attention to.
Yeah, just like the women back then who people called teasers. Oh yeah, you just a tease. You want to give right. But then you had those who were being given up quick and being passed around to everybody. Ended up with a horrible reputation and everything. And then they started off beautiful, right? Now you see them, they don't have any teeth, don't barely have any teeth in their mouth, or they've been beat up on, they allow men to treat them any old kind of way, but, so what they use because they got in that fast lane way too early. They hadn't learned enough, experienced enough life to be able to make strategic choices that would have led them to their goals in a more strategic manner. So it's important that we take those step by steps. Yes. And not try to go too fast, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. That is very important to understand. And I hope some of the young people who are paying and who are watching this, understand what we're saying. It's not a knock on nobody or tear anybody down. This is just something that we need, that I hope that people pay attention to, because there's a lot of men that was out there that got out there fast and became successful because they ended up learning something in the process. Something happened to them where they probably fell off for a second. And then that process, when they fell off, taught them a great lesson. And some that fell off multiple times that just never got the message. They're still trying to get back in the race and to win. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Right. And that's the downside.
And I want to make sure that everybody can hear us. If we sound low or anything, let us know, please.
You want me to read this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
The hare slept too long, and in the interim, the tortoise won the race. This fable reminds us all that acting quickly, irrationally, and carelessly can cause us to fail, whereas thinking things through first can lead to success.
Yes.
100%.
100%. It does. That's one of the things. Once we start taking the time to think, like look at our kids. When we got kids, that decide they want to go out. I know in the military they say, when you went into military bases, and they always gave you warnings of what places not to go and hang out at. Right. Because why? Because they was trying to prevent you from getting in any type of trouble. Because, most of the civilians didn't like military guys because the women would either be attracted to you because they think you have a
free meal ticket.
Yeah, you what they call it an insurance plan. Yeah. You had the plans. You had all the things that some women was looking for, that their mothers was pushing those women to go after. So, and then they was trying to tell them that you don't want those type of women in those bars because those are the type of women that's going to entrap you. So the military was trying to forewarn them guys, warn us not to go out into those certain clubs or certain atmosphere, because these are the snares of them. But then you had those guys who wanted to be out there and wanted to do it, and guess what? They end up getting out there, end up getting into it with guys in the community. End up losing it all, trying to have fun in a given night. Right. One little night cost a man his whole life, his whole career.
Right, and that's what hurrying does. Yes. When you're in such a hurry, you don't think. When you don't think, you don't consider that which you should include, that which you should exclude when it comes to achieving goals.
Yes.
We just include, if you're not careful, you include everything, or you include all the wrong things. And those wrong things that you allow to continue to breathe, those are the wrong things you can continue to allow to have oxygen when it comes to achieving your goals, are the very things that choke out your success.
Yes.
Because you don't think ahead, because I'm in such a hurry, I don't care how I get there. The ends justify the means. No, the ends does not justify the means. But some people live by that. Live by that. They think that it doesn't matter what you do; it's just getting there. But getting there, but how you got there does matter, because how you got there will determine if you're able to stay there. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just almost like planting a seed in good soil, and you have to always remember, you have to always go back and check your crop, because weeds grow up and choke what you planted
Right.
out.
Right.
And you could stay away from a lot of things too, and that's where the weeds will still come in and choke your crop out. So
Right.
you have to always go in there and pick those weeds out.
Yes.
And those are people that's in your ear. There's people that's even as close family members. They're not. And misery loves company. We understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people are miserable. Sometimes you ask advice from the wrong people.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing that can cause. Those are the snares in your life. Those are the tares, the weeds in your life, when you just taking information from bad people who don't really have your best interest.
Right.
You know what I mean? I learned that I had to learn, a long time. It's funny because my cousin used to always get on me because I used to get into clubs, and I used to go to clubs, and all the guys would always surround me, and they always run up to me and tell me stuff, and I'd be like, okay, what we gonna do? And he'd be like, oh man, you need to stop letting them guys get in your ear, man. You need to stop doing that. By the time he looked up, I'm into something. He used to get mad and leave me. And he's like, man, I told you, man, I ain't trying to get into that with nobody, but it is funny because, I was one of the type, this is, I don't know, guys just always come to me and surround me, want to come tell me about something, and I'll be like, they act like and I couldn't stand scary guys. That's what you remember I used to say that? I can't stand when guys come tell me something, and then they ain't gonna go do that. So I'm like, so I always feel like it's my obligation to go do something. Show these guys, hey man, this is how you do it. If you got a problem with a person, this is how you gonna handle it. Mm-hmm. And then I'll find myself fighting by myself.
Taking all the risks.
While
they stand back watching and see what happens.
Stand back watching. And that happened to me numerous of times. Mm-hmm. He used to get on me all the time. I'm like, man, so
it's like stand back, light the firecracker, and watch the show. Like, back in the day, when they used to have, when the M80s were actually M80s. Now these days, I don't know what these things are. They mark them as M80. They're not M80s. No. Or silver salutes, those different things. I mean, you remember the guy across the street, not Mr. Corbin. I mean, I was Mr. Corbin too, but I forgot the guy name. He said always sit there in a corner and throw them silver salutes out. Yeah, they go boom, real loud. Yeah. Things sound like, man, it sounded like an artillery shell just went off in the middle of the street. Then he just sit there like he didn't do anything. But the reality is that that's people. People will light the wick of your life and then stand back, watch the show. They will encourage you to do things that you should not do. They will use you as the experimental rat to go in and give you these ideas and say, if I was you, I would do this. If I was you, I would do that. Whether it be your relationships, whether it be concerning your job, whether it be with your kids, whatever it is, whether it be if you're in college and you're trying to get assignments done, you have people who may encourage you to cheat. You may have people who encourage you to stay up late, not study for tests. You may have, you have people that encourage you to do a lot of things, because like you said, misery loves company. These very people who are encouraging you to not study and this, that, and the end may not even be in school themselves. Hey, stay out with us, stop being chicken. You got all day, you got your whole life ahead of you. What difference does it make if you're a freshman? You got many years ahead of you, but they don't realize what they don't realize, and if you're not careful, you won't realize the importance of the tortoise understands the scenery along the way. In other words, in order to build a house, you got to enjoy the scenery from the bottom to the top, meaning that you have to lay that foundation properly. And if you don't lay that proper foundation, whether it be in a relationship, whether it be in school, or whether it be with your children, or whatever, whether it be with a job, if you don't lay that foundation properly, there's no way you can build a house on that. But there's people who want what you have, so they will help. They will help you sabotage your own foundation.
Because they trying to win the race.
Yes.
They're trying to win. They're trying to one up you, and amp up the ante on you, and keep you back, keep you stagnated. That people do that all constantly, often. You know what I mean? Even at the company, even at jobs. I remember people could, remember I was telling that people used to always come to me and tell me about the job. And I'd be the one that go in
speaking up
for everybody.
And then they
I'm always the one that always speaking up for everybody, man. And I go in there and speak up for everybody. And guess what? When I get in the room,
crickets.
Everybody following behind me. And as soon as I start speaking, everybody took me one over to the left. I'm sitting there by myself. I lost the job. I lost a good job for doing that. You know what I mean? It's always speaking up for people's behalf. You know what I mean? Because I just can't stand bullies, man. That's one thing I just can never do. I never did like bullies, and you know what I mean. So I'm always the one that would take on a bully, and that was always my problem too. So I guess that's something I had to learn. I don't know if that's a little man complex or what it is, what they call it, but I was always that type of guy. But now that I'm older, I try to prepare my son, to think differently. You know what I mean? Make sure you don't take on a fight if everybody ain't gonna fight with you. You know what I mean? If you're going to take on something, make sure that people fighting with you, they right side by side, and it's a good fight. It ain't just any fight. Sometimes you just take on a fight just because you just want to have a victory. You want to look like you did something. And I don't need no victories. We just need to make sure that if it is a victory, make sure it's a victory that's going to benefit more than just myself. And other, and a few. I want to make sure it's a victory for a community, for a family, or something like that. So, but we gotta remember, if we're gonna just know who you are, you gotta pay attention to who you are at the moment. You could be the rabbit or you could be the turtle. Don't let nobody knock you because you're the turtle. And that's what makes people want to jump up and be the rabbit. Because they feel like someone gonna say, "Oh, man, you slow. You don't know nothing. You don't want to do nothing. You weak." No, man, you ain't weak. You just smart. You move a little differently. You study. Your observation is you're not a one-dimensional thinker. You're a multi-dimensional thinker. You're thinking from all different levels. You're seeing it from all different aspects. And if you do enter that arena, you want to make sure that you're able to know how to get in and out and how to. So if something happens this way, you know how to shift the paradigm so you can redevelop in an area where you might need to. Because sometimes it's like boxing. If you're in the ring, if someone's swinging and they're an orthodox fighter, you can't swing the same way you want. You have to switch up. You got to know when to switch. You got to know when to switch southpaw. You got to know when to use angles and other areas in your life. You have to be able to, and it takes adjustments. You have to know how to adjust. So, and the turtle showed us how he adjusted, even though he was the less favored out of everybody. When they was about to race, they asked everybody around, that turtle don't stand a chance. He didn't stand a chance. Everybody believed that the turtle didn't stand a chance. But they didn't understand that the turtle was an adjustment. He knew how to adjust. The rabbit failed because of his cockiness and his ego. And that's what happens to a lot of people. That's a lot of people's downfall. Ego and pride. They don't know how to adjust. They don't know how to be what they call it humble. They don't know how to humble themselves. And we got a lot of people that don't know how to humble themselves. They're too busy wanting to be the man or the woman.
Yeah, they want to be the light of the show.
They want the spotlight.
But the spotlight That's not where the learning is.
No, it's not.
The learning is in the mistakes. The learning is in the struggle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it took me a long time to learn that the learning was in the struggle because, you know, at one time I thought that the struggle was a bad place, and that, you know, it seemed like it came easy to other people, and it came more difficult to me. But what I soon realized is that after I applied myself and I studied and I took it step by step, took the tortoise route, took the turtle route. Um, I learned that I came to a much greater understanding of things. So when it came to applying things, now I knew how to take a test. It's like, you know, back in the day, you know, when we were in school, they taught us to memorize.
Yeah.
Remember, it was a memorize this, memorize that, right? But if you took what's it called? Where you
SAT.
no the choice where, you know, when you A B C or D, you know, if you know
Multiple choice
multiple
question.
thinking, when you take it when you know, when you took a multiple choice test, it was easy, right? Because all you had to do was memorize, right?
Yeah.
But when you actually
actually
had to
write,
apply,
yeah.
when they said, okay, now apply this, you're like, wait a minute, oh, that wasn't on the test. It was. You just didn't understand it well enough to know how to apply it. And that's where understanding came in. And so a lot of people hated those kind of tests. They were hoping, man, give me a multiple choice test. I aced that all day. But then when it came time to apply it, and such as life is exact same way. You know, because when something comes from a different angle that you don't expect, okay, which requires understanding, it requires fluid intelligence. It requires you to be able to take what you have learned here and be able to apply it here and apply it here and apply it there and apply it there. But if you're not a thinker, then you don't know how to apply that concept in multiple areas of your life because you lack understanding. And the turtle had understanding.
Yeah.
The rabbit was a multiple choice thinker. if that makes sense.
Yeah. And you know, and you know, and the turtle used the rabbit strategy at the end.
Right.
When he got almost by the finish line, when he looked back and seen the rabbits coming,
right,
he started speeding up so he can win.
Right.
So he knew when to apply that speed to get there, but he knew when to pace himself.
But you know what I like best about what the turtle did at the end? It's because the turtle realized that he wasn't quite fast enough to beat the rabbit. But the rabbit was about to beat him. So you know what the turtle did? He stretched out his neck. Exactly. And made it over the finish line before the rabbit. So he used a different strategy. Yes. He says, I may not be fast of foot, I may not be fleet of foot, but I got a longer neck, so I'm going to use that to win this race. And that's again another way of applying understanding. You're not a one-dimensional thinker, but you're a multi-dimensional thinker. Yes. In other words, you're a creative thinker. You learn how to think outside the box. Winning is not just, he understood that winning wasn't just about being fleet of foot. It was about using whatever strategy you need to use, whatever resources you had in your artillery, and he used what he had in his artillery. Okay, my legs are short. I can only move so fast. I got this heavy shell on. Okay, but I'm close to the finish line. Okay, what can I do? You know what? I'll tell you what I would do. My body might be back here, but I'm going to use my neck to stretch it all the way up there.
And win by nose.
And win by head, you know. And that's the thing, you know. That's the beauty of being able to apply understanding. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, and that is always important when we talk about these type of subject matters. Our people, I mean, I applaud all the brothers who came out like the turtle, came out of jails, came out of prisons, and said, you know what, I got to get back. And they know that the race is ahead of them already because they've been gone for so long, but they still trying to give back what they lost. And a lot of times people come out and be selfish and about themselves, you know what I mean? And they realize that it ain't always just about me. because our greatest gift is to be able to share what we have. The inheritance is something that you pass down.
Mm.
It's something that you give, that you accumulated, that you're able to give to someone else after, when it's time to pass it on.
Mm-hmm.
That's the greatest inheritance. That's what an inheritance is. Sometimes you can't take everything with you when you die.
Can't take anything with you when you die.
You can, so you have to be able to be willing to give what you earned, or what you established, or what you have fulfilled, just to the next generation, to the next person. If the prodigal son would have understood that
he wouldn't have had to go through what he went through.
He wouldn't have had to go through what he had went through. He would have to realize that he had to end up being in something that he despised the most, pig slop. They was against pigs, swine and all that. And he ended up finding himself working in there, cleaning pig slop. And then when he realized it dawned on him when he was smelling like it and all that stuff, dang, I had it good where I was at.
Right. I was learning. I was in a good environment.
Yeah.
I had somebody undergirding me.
Loved me.
I had somebody providing for me while I was learning. There's nothing more beautiful than to be in an environment. It's just like, some kids when they graduate from high school, and instead of going and staying on campus, they live at home because it's more expensive to stay on campus. It's more expensive now. They had to try and get a job, or try and make ends meet, this, that, and the other. When they could just,
there's comfort.
If they could stay at home, and their parents will say, you know what, all you gotta do is go to school. You don't have to worry about paying me no rent. You don't have to worry about paying this bill, that bill. Only thing I do, I want you to focus on the study. That's a beautiful thing, to be able to be at home and be able to be in the comfort of learning like that, instead of having to do it, instead of having to hurry up and get out there, no place to stay, trying to keep good grades, but at the same time trying to work a job. Yeah.
Pay for everything, pay for food, try to pay for, but here you got comfort.
Exactly.
You got love. You got
support. Exactly.
Those are the things that a lot of times we don't understand
or appreciate.
And that's something. I was even in the movie Colors. You remember when Sean Penn first started, and it was on top of that hill, and he said, hey, he was telling a story about the bull, the bull and the ring. He said, man. He said the young bull said, man, let's run down and hit one of the cows. Right. And then the old man said, no. He said, no. Why don't we just walk down when you hit them all? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because he was coming in too fast, too cocky, right. Causing too much chaos. Right. Remember, he had to check him inside of the police department. Remember, he had to throw up against the wall. Right. Man, what are you doing, man? You causing more havoc when we're trying to keep peace. You're drawing too much attention. Yeah, you know what I mean? And so sometimes we have to understand these measures. It's important. You learn this now while you're young, because you don't want to wait till you got 20 kids, or you are strung out on dope, or you sit in a penitentiary. Learn from the people who've been there already. And it's not that if you make those mistakes that you can't recover. However, like the prodigal son, why take that route if you don't have to? Now, if you happen to end up on it, that's beyond your control. It is what it is. You do what you got to do, and you recover, and you fight the fights that you got to fight, and to get to where you're trying to go. However, if you don't have to take that route, don't be like the prodigal son. Don't be like the rabbit and be in such a hurry to get out there, be in such a hurry to get ahead that you're not thinking along the way that there's a better way. There's a more logical way to take. When you can think your way through, process your way through, analyze things, and take in information and weigh it out. Count up the cost of every decision that you make, and make sure that each decision that you make is actually a part of where you're trying to go, and not something that's working for you, not something that's working against you. But
when you say, well, man, I want to hurry up and get out of my parents' house. I want to hurry up and go do what I do. I'm tired of their rules. I want to be on my own. I didn't graduate now. I want to hurry up and leave them behind. And you don't realize what you're leaving behind is help.
And you know what's funny? Because I remember I wanted to get out of the house so fast. I ended up getting with a girl, and you remember that? Every time we got into it, I was packed. I only had a little bitty, a little bitty suitcase with my little Game Boy or whatever I had. It was like a little dinky thing. So I get kicked out of the house. I'm grabbing my little bitty thing, and I'm going back home. The doors was always open for me to come back home. But I'm thinking about that torment I put myself through because I wanted to get out the house so early.
Right.
So I wouldn't stay with a girl who was not mature herself. So every time she didn't like something I did get out. And I told myself, remember I told you this, man, as a fam, and no way I'm never let a woman put me in that predicament again. I never move in with a woman. I would never. Some women might think it's a male chauvinist. I would never move in with another woman unless we signed a lease. We married and we signed a lease together. There's no way you're gonna tell me to get out. I'm not doing it. I remember I did that. I think I did that over 100 times. You remember I remember my homeboy came and got me a couple times. You came and got me a couple times. People came and got me. I'm like, man, I said, and I'm like, when is enough is gonna be enough. But see, I wanted to rush out of the house to make and play house. Wasn't mature enough to be a man yet, because I didn't have a papa, I didn't have a dad. Nobody really taught me how to be a man.
Right.
So I'm having to learn as I'm going through this thing. Right. So I'm basically playing a role that I don't even know nothing about.
Right.
And I'm trying to be a role that I don't know nothing about. And she had a kid. I had a I'm trying to play stepdaddy and play daddy. So it was just a mess. It was just like oil and water. It just wasn't mixing. So I learned. I said, man, I'll never put myself in that predicament again. Thank the Heavenly Father for that lets me to learn from those mistakes. But those are just things that we have to always be cognizant about.
Right.
We have to go back and do some inventory. Right. On ourselves. Right. And that's how you get self-discovery. That's how you understand who you are, to know who you are. Right. Because you got to know who you are. I had to know who I was in God because I didn't know who God was in my life because I wasn't applying God in my life because I was too busy being of life, trying to fulfill this life on earth. And Satan came down and said to me, hey, I'm gonna give you everything if you just try this and try this. So you're in the dope game, you're out here in the gang banging, you're in all these things, and he's making you feel like these things that you got a sense of family over here because you lost your family over here. You feel like you don't got no money. You tired of dressing bummy and all that stuff. You remember I used to dress bummy. Y'all give me a hand-me-down, and I wanted to look like I had everything. So I'm out here trying to hustle and bustle to do all these things, and guess what? I didn't succeed. He just led me into a pit. He led me into a pit and this ditch, and then left me there. And then I had to climb off this ditch, and nobody throwing me a rope, no one throwing me a ladder, nobody throwing me nothing. I had to climb out myself. And guess what? But the good grace of God helped me out through that, and he showed me a better way. And it took some time, though. It took some years. I'm talking about it took years. It didn't happen overnight. I had to suffer for years. I'm talking about crying. I'm talking for a grown man. I'm going to tell you about men. If a man said he never cried and never went through, it is a different. Men cry differently. It ain't always like it. Sometimes it ain't always tears. Sometimes it's a mourning. It's a deep depression cry. It's like when you're so depressed because you don't feel like you are who you say you're supposed to be. If you look in the mirror and you can't even be happy with yourself, and then you got a son you got to try to raise. You want to raise your son to be better than you, and you got a daughter. Man, that hurts, man. It hurts when you have to sit back and look at them. You got to talk to them. You got to try to. They don't even know you because you locked up or you going through some things in your life, or you don't even feel good to even go around them as a man because you feel like, man, I ain't where I need to be. I can't go over there. How can I go over there and teach my son something or my daughter something? I ain't where I want.
I don't even know.
You know what I mean? So it's a hard task, man. It's hard. That's what I say. Don't let that rabbit fool you, man. Don't, that rabbit looks good. You got pure white outfit on, looking like he's pure with a little cotton pure tail.
Little hot rod of it too.
You ain't got it going on. The turtle look all wore out, old fashioned. It look like he been here for years.
But he got some wisdom.
Sometimes you got to take that wisdom.
He done been around the block a couple of times.
Yes.
And those are the lessons that we must learn. Somebody have something to add?
Alex Leroy Logan said, going to pick up. He's talking to somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Okay, he's talking on there.
Okay.
I'm glad you have brothers and sisters. I see my brother Tizzy Bible watching. Love Big Bro. I see Alex. Thanks for joining us. Donovan Love, thanks for joining us. Daniel Kirby, Vanessa Barnes, Deshaun Redding, Carl L. Smith Phelps, Steve Abraham. Thank all y'all for joining us. It's always a blessing, to see some honorable people watching, supporting, and hoping that we can encourage and y'all encourage us as well, man. Because it ain't easy sitting up here on this platform trying to talk about issues. It hurts, man. Sometimes when you talk about certain things, because we talk about a community, we talk about families that are dead right now. Because we played that rabbit. We've been doing with the rabbit that running so fast that we overlooked a lot of things. But we would have just sat back and thought about, took notes from the turtle. I don't think we'd be in a lot of conditions that we're in.
No, because we would have took our time. Yeah. We would have paid closer attention. We would have learned. And oftentimes the thing is that just like when we were kids, kids never wanted to learn. Yeah. Kids didn't like discipline. They didn't want to listen. They waited till the parents left the house and did what they wanted to do, because that's what they wanted to do. Yeah. Instead of doing what they needed to do. They wait till the parent put you out in the yard to cut the grass. You wait till they go in the house, and you sitting down taking your time, or you running the lawnmower like my son did, run the lawnmower into the fence, trying to break the lawnmower so you don't have to cut the yard. Just it's like, and you just don't realize that when you're taking those shortcuts, or the child that sneaks out the window in the middle of the night, while the parents are sleeping, because they want to hurry up, they want to run the street, with their friends. They figure, well, they don't have any curfew, so I shouldn't have a curfew. But the curfew is there for your benefit. The curfew is there for your learning. It's to keep you in that slow lane. Yeah, it's to keep you in that lane so that you can learn some things first before you get out there. That's the beauty of having parents. The very job of a parent is to teach. Yes. Teach the children, teach the upcoming generations. But the kids are in such a hurry. They have that rabbit mentality. You got parents that have that mentality. Then they turn around and have kids. They got that same mentality. So therefore, or you got those parents who feel like they missed out on a lot. Right. So therefore, they're trying to relive. The kids is not even ain't even grown or not even mature enough to even defend for themselves. And they trying to reestablish something that they lost 10 years, 30 years ago, 15 years ago. Right. We have that going on in our community. That's what's one of our problems in our community, because we got too many mothers and fathers who feel like they lost out on their life, and their kids is only 7 or 8 years old, and they feel toddlers. I need to please myself. I need to do things for myself. No, you gave that up once you had a child, and we didn't know. And I was a product of that too.
I was that way too, because when I was out in the streets, I didn't want to be there for my kids like I should have been. I was trying to find myself. In reality, I was being selfish. I was selfish. I was seriously selfish, and it's hard to make that back, get that back after you mess up.
Oh yeah, it is. It's very difficult to get that back. I mean, I think about it all the time. I mean, both my kids are grown, you know, and now I look back and I'm like, man, I could have did this better. I could have did that better. I could have been there for this. I could have been there for that. You know, I was going to see for me, I was working all the time, but again, that's kind of that. When I think back, I said, you know what? I should have did a better job of staying on top of the things the activities that they had going on. Took some time off to go to make an appearance and to be there, instead of always saying, well, nope, I gotta work. Well, nope, I gotta work, because
it's so sad, and it's so sad because in society, it's like you need that, you have to have that income to do the things, to provide for the things that they want to do, for the sports, for the ballets, for the track. All those things you have to have that. You have to have the finances to do that.
Right.
So it's just like you putting away a lot of stuff just to do those things.
Absolutely.
Just so you can. So and it's like you either you damn if you do, you damn if you don't.
But what I've learned as hindsight. They always say hindsight is 20/20. Yeah. And you look back and say, you know what? I should have chosen the latter. In other words, because even when I was a child, I realized how important it was that for somebody to be there. When I was wrestling, when I was running track, whatever, it was important for somebody to be there. But again, look, my mother worked; she couldn't be there. But she was married. I had another parent quote unquote parent at home that still didn't show up. He wasn't working, didn't have no place to be. He could have been there, but wasn't. But again, but then I turned around and as I got older, I worked, and then while they were, in wrestling or they were in baseball or martial arts, whatever the case may be, I wasn't there. And I wish now I look back and I'm like, man, now, when my son got into junior high school, I was able to go to a couple of wrestling matches and this, that, and the other, but it still wasn't the same, because he was much older. Now, I was there, but not there, and I look back now and I'm like, you know what, I could have did a lot more, than what I did, because we don't realize how important that is to our kids. Just like I was talking to a teenager the other day who said that he was telling me how, he plays baseball, and he was telling me how his dad, takes him to the baseball game. No, sits out in the car, never comes into the game. So, and he was telling me about this, and I said, you really should tell your dad how you feel. I said, that's not being disrespectful. I said, but you're being honest, and you're letting them know, hey, Dad, when you come to my games and you don't actually come in, I feel like you're not there, because I actually want you to come and watch me. I actually want to be able to talk to you about the game. Can't necessarily talk to you about the game if you don't even come in, But see, maybe in his dad's mind, well, I was there. No, you weren't there. Because it's not from your perspective, it's from their perspective that you're there. And that's what we, as parents, that's what we have to realize, because again, wanting to be in that fast lane, thinking other things are more important. Ooh, I gotta hurry up and do this. Oh, I gotta hurry up and do that. Oh, I gotta hurry up and do that.
Down in the car on his phone.
Right, not realizing that what matters most is slowly passing us by. It's like we don't realize that the turtle of life is passing us by, while we as rabbits talking about, I gotta hurry up and do this, and I gotta hurry up and do that, I gotta hurry up and get over here, and I gotta hurry up and get over there. And see,
I'm trying to leave you in there. I'm trying to leave something for you.
I'm trying
to
exactly.
So I can have all these things.
Not realizing that what your children want most is your presence. They can care less about your money. They can care less about what you're talking about doing in the future. They want the now. What can you do for me now?
And the flip side of that too is when me working and going around all the elderly homes, and the elders, parents want their kids to be there to be there for them, be there with them. Mm-hmm. They don't have nobody to talk to. They don't have nobody to hear by themselves. They so I see both sides of the spectrum. So, and that's because maybe the parents didn't invest in their children, so the children are not investing back in them.
Well, or they're doing the same. They're doing the same thing. The children are doing the same thing the parents did.
So in other words,
I'm trying to get ahead. Parents thought when they were their child's age, and their children are much younger. I'm trying to get ahead. So then now the children are at the age that the parents used to be at. Now the parents are old, and they're like, oh, I'm trying to get ahead. I don't have time to come by and see you. Just like you didn't have time to come see me, play baseball. You didn't have time to come see me, run track. You didn't have time to come see me, in any events that I had going on, soccer, whatever the case may be. Now I don't have time to come see you.
Repetitive cycle.
Yeah, it's a repetitive cycle. So someone's got to break it. But again, that's where it becomes so important that we learn from the tortoise and the hare and learn the importance of slowing down life and doing the things that matter more than just being in such a hurry, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And that is very important. And I think that we just, that's why I know sometimes they probably be like, man, why can't you come up with these type of stories? But, these type of stories really have a lot of learning curves. They're potential for us to grow from. We might have looked at them, read them from when we was younger, read the stories from a different perspective because, that's on our young ears and young eyes. When you get older, you can read it from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. And you can be able to take it and process it differently moving forward. So what was going you to do something else?
Oh no, I was just looking to see where we're at. But anyway, go ahead.
We select these type of stories because we want to kind of use them as tools to put in our tool bag. So when we go and try to face certain obstacles, we can look at it and say, look, I don't know how to deal with this issue. The turtle and the hare thing they talk about gives me something to look at so I can deal with this issue. So then it gives you that, and then we're giving you the spiritual realm on it because we're saying the prodigal son. We're talking about the time where the father was storing up things for the child, and the child decided it wanted to go out and figure himself out, And when he went out there, he realized he didn't have no friends. Mm-hmm. He thought he had all the friends in the world when he had everything, but when he lost it all, he didn't have no one. Yeah. So he had to go back to it. He had to go back and assess his life, and then he realized, man, I had it great where I was at. Mm-hmm. I need to go back where I was.
I need to go back where I was. But see, sometimes
a lot of people don't do that.
And a lot of people don't do that. They refuse to do that. You know what keeps them from doing that? Pride,
ego.
Yeah,
like the air.
He said, nope, there's no way. Nope. I'm not gonna go back. I don't care what happens. I'll stay out here and figure it out. Yep. See, the thing is that, and I hope somebody's watching, that maybe this is the situation you're in right now. Maybe not. But I would encourage you, don't be afraid to go back. Yeah. Don't be afraid, because that's where the help is. Yeah. Okay, take the help. Don't decide to suffer when you don't have to suffer. Pride, Scripture says the pride go before destruction, the haughty spirit before a fall. And a lot of things we can save ourselves from if we would just get rid of that haughty spirit. If we would just let go of that pride. Men got it bad when it comes to pride. They don't want to apologize. They don't want to show any kind of emotion or anything like that. You don't want to tell your child that you're sorry if you make a mistake. Your child will respect you much more if you can admit that you make a mistake, because do understand that means you set an example for them. You're slowing down life for them in that tortoise kind of way, so they can learn some things. But if you stay in that fast lane and you teach your child everything on the slick. In other words, you're not teaching, you're just flying through life, not wanting to apologize, not wanting to cry, not wanting to explain anything, not wanting to take your time and do anything and learn anything. You know, you stay in that fast lane, you're teaching your child to be in that fast lane. If you teach your child to be in that fast lane, your child's going to teach their child to be in that fast lane. At some point, slow it down, enjoy the scenery, and take the tortoise road. Take the tortoise road.
And, a lot of us men would sit down and think about it psychologically. How many men made choices off of a rabbit mindset and did something right off the bat?
Me.
Shot somebody because of your temperament, because you didn't take the time to be like the tortoise.
Yeah.
Took your time to process it first. If you would took the time to process it, I guarantee you half the men won't be in prison today. And if you do go to prison, you're going to make the choice to say, okay, now I made the choice and I know the repercussions behind it. You don't want to get there and be like, oh, I should have did this, I should have did it. Then you torment yourself the whole entire time you're in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're trying to overlook it by indulging in so much stuff in the joint in jail where it costs you to get more time while you're in there. Because because a real man who gets in there, who thought about it first, who thought about it before he had to actually do something, and when he does go to prison, his mindset is totally different than someone who actually did something fast and then go to jail, and then all of a sudden he's got to constantly do something to keep his mind off of everything. He's got to constantly be in there doing stupid stuff and costing himself time and kills him his good time. And
that's what you mean that's that again. You're talking about that rabbit mentality, constantly having to do something, constantly moving.
Brother Daniel Kirby said, "You're teaching them accountability as well as your own." Yes. Exactly.
Yes.
We have to focus on accountability.
Yes.
And responsibility.
Right.
We have a responsibility and we have to be accountable for the things that we do, the things that we say, the way we act. Our action, when there's an action, there's a reaction to an action. So sometimes when I do something, it just don't affect just me.
It affects everybody connected to me.
Everybody around me. If I shot somebody and killed somebody, I go to jail. Who do you think I'm depending on? My family, my girl. I'm gonna call you. Hey, I need you to put money on my books. Or I need you to pick up the phone when I call you because I'm lonely in here. I need to be talking on the outside. We imprisonating the people because we're in prison. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we have to think before we react, because when you do certain things, it's not just going to affect you. It's going to affect us. It's going to affect our community, our family. It's going to affect we as a people. I will affect we, will affect us, it will affect our. You got to remember that. We got to constantly say that to ourselves. What I do is going to affect us. It's going to affect our community. It's going to affect we as a people. We as a family. We as a community. It's going to affect all of us. You can't, and think about this. If I shot and killed this family member, I killed this brother over here. His family's upset with me. My family's trying to protect me. I got another family who loves my family, who's going to side with my family. You got another family that's going to side with his family. That's a whole community right there. That's a neighborhood right there divided. Am I right?
That's the neighborhood divided.
So that's what happens. Now you got everybody beefing with each other.
Nobody's thinking
because of one person's action.
Affected everybody.
And it affected everybody. Because I got 2 or 3 families who were saying, oh, Mike was a good guy, Mike was a good guy. I bet you Mike only did it because he had to protect himself. Then you got his family say, "Oh, my son was a good guy. Pookie was a great good. He was a great guy." You got him and his 3 families over there. That's a whole community almost. And we got to stop that. That's why we got to start thinking before we react. This is that rabbit stuff. We got to get out of that fast lane, that fast way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
That's that ego. That's that pride.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the rabbit represents. The hare represents that fast lane, that pride, that ego. Always in competition.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got to take him out first before he take me out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mindset we got to break away from. We got to think, man. We got to be those who know better do better. To whom is much given, if this information is given to you, to whom is much given is much required of you. So that means that now that you got this information, it's required of you to spread this information and to teach amongst your peers. You cannot allow it to just hold on to it. You got to give it out. Even if they accept it, they accept it or don't. At least give it. Well, we got too much stuff going on in our community. We got too many mothers who fathers ain't there. I got nieces and cousins, and I've got baby daddies on top of baby daddies, and the baby daddies are there. You ask them, "Hey, where's your baby daddy?" "Oh, he ain't nothing. He ain't doing nothing. He's in jail. He's dead." Or I'm like, man. And we keep making these poor choices. I have all these baby mamas, and stuff like that. They ain't got my best interest. I ain't got their best interest. It affects us all because the kids ain't coming around, or I ain't going around them. It's an ugly cycle. Either you're gonna monopolize the board, or you're gonna keep playing sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of sorry too.
There's a lot of sorry.
But sorry doesn't help anybody unless there's a change.
Exactly.
That's a lot of people don't realize that. They just figure, oh, I'm sorry I did this. And if there's no intention on changing, then the sorry has no value at all.
Remember Ike Turner after he beat Tina up in the glass boot, he comes sneaking in with the roses and set it down by the bed. Didn't change the behavior.
No.
But he was sorry.
Exactly.
And he was sorry.
Right.
Remember what he said? He said sorry because he was sorry.
Right. But he wasn't sorry.
But he wasn't sorry.
Said sorry because he was sorry, but wasn't sorry.
And hey, people been like that.
Yeah.
A lot of people been like that.
Right.
So
we put ourselves in we put ourselves in predicaments.
Exactly.
When we refuse to learn the lessons that we can learn from the turtle.
Because they don't like the turtle. The turtle looks old.
The turtle?
Old. He's been there for years.
Well, the turtle looks slow. That's the thing that people dislike about turtles. It's just like it's like driving down a road, driving behind somebody slow. You're in a hurry. You want them to move. You're like, hurry up and turn, just get out of my way. I just want you to move. But what you don't realize is that maybe that person who's in front of you may have slowed you down just enough for you to have avoided an accident. Maybe if you'd have been traveling just a little bit faster, you'd have got there just in time to be T-boned. See, those are the kind of things that we don't think about because we're thinking about self, and this is oftentimes the biggest struggle. Is when people think about themselves. They're not other-centered, they're self-centered. And so many of us are self-centered that we don't realize the cost of being self-centered. And it's the reason why, relationships struggle and everything. Again, self-centered. How can I get ahead? How can I do me? How can I benefit? Not how can we? And it's just like, what I've soon learned, even, one time you sent me this you turned me on to this thing about the 5 love languages. I remember we were talking about that at one time, the 5 love languages.
Yeah.
But then they were talking about that guy got into talking about the different, the filial love, the eros love. There's one other filial love, and then there's agape love.
Agape almost.
Yeah. But it's the greatest, the one love that stood out from all of them that was in the category all by itself was agape love, because the other loves required feelings.
Yeah.
Agape love did not require feelings. Agape love required action.
Yes.
Agape love required a life change. Agape love required learning.
Yes.
Agape love required that one see the other person and that the other person see you. That's, agape love, so that's what made agape love sin. But oftentimes we don't engage in agape love. We encourage in all we engage in all the other ones that require feelings.
Well, because everybody get on the post, I love you.
Right.
Then
as soon as you make me mad, I hate you.
Or as soon as you disagree with one, they post, you.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it's based on feelings.
It's based on feelings.
It's fickle feelings and bitter, deadbeat emotions.
It is. Fickle feelings, deadbeat emotions. That's what it is. Whatever they feel at that moment and whatever emotion they're at, that's the result you're gonna get. So we need to get into the state where we understand that if we say we love unconditionally. That means that we love them no matter what. Ain't none of us perfect. We can walk around upright, try to walk without a bend in our back. Every last one of us got a bend in our back because we all fall short of the glory. Somehow, some shape, some form. It might not be in the same fashion. We all fall from whatever our temptations are, whatever our sin is. We all fall from that area. But sometimes some sins are not always seen. Some people don't see your sins. You know them, but they don't know them. So therefore, but when they come around, they can walk up on you like they don't display nothing. They don't have it. And that's what causes what God has to show them through their own, that you judging someone else when you have just as fault as they have. Might not be as many, and I can use a sinner because the scriptures always show you through the whole scripture, show you through nothing but sinners, through all prophets, through all their sin. They all went through some type of sinful cycle, and they all repented. They all went through the things. Some of them kept sinning, but they had a genuine heart. But they had some issues that they had to deal with. I watched all the disciples, Jesus, constantly beating the brakes off of them constantly. Trying to turn around, he was going in on them, because they was always prejudging people. They always had something to say. Oh, you know who she was, you wouldn't, always. Even the Pharisees and Sadducees always had something to say. And he had to constantly check them on themselves. So it ain't that we're not striving to be perfect beings. Now, there's a difference. Some people ain't trying to be perfect or trying to be better than what they were. That's where the problem comes in.
And that's the key, right there.
Then there's some people who are actually trying, but they have some things they want to be like the rabbit. They want to live in the fast lane. They want to be seen. They want to be known. They want to be known. They want to, that's what causes them to be in that area, in that arena where they're at. They don't know how to back away from that and be like the turtles and say, you know what, this hasn't got me nowhere. Yeah, ever since I did inventory on my life, like we talked about last week, street religion, street Bible. We've been accepting the street Bible all of our lives, and it ain't got us nowhere. Street Bible has been nothing but been dysfunction, has been nothing but detour us. It has nothing but misled us, misguided us, and kept us in a docile state. Kept us in torment because ain't nobody flourished from the street Bible. Even those who wrote the Bible broke the Bible's codes and conducts, laws and policies. So we got to ask ourselves, are we going to continue to keep using the street Bible for revelation, or are we going to use something that actually works? The real laws and statutes and commandments. You can't go wrong if you love thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul, and love thy neighbor, thy brother, thy sister. Once you start to learn to love properly and you understand what love really is, guess what? None of the other sins is going to prevail, because if you love somebody strong enough to the point where I'm not going to try to cover your wife, I'm not going to try to harm you, I'm not going to rob you, I'm not going to, because I love you so much, man, I cannot do that to you.
Right. Those other things.
It covers all the other ones.
There's no need to even have a list.
Exactly.
You don't even need a list, because you're so focused on loving that you don't even have to have a list, because you're so focused on loving, all those other things won't even occur.
Exactly.
But see that again, it takes one to slow down and enjoy the scenery to pick up on all of that.
Yes.
And that's why we can't be in such a hurry. That's why we got to take time. We got to take the time to know each other. Take the time to know what, I was thinking the other day, back when I was growing up, my grandmother, rest her soul, used to always give me these ugly sweaters. Every holiday she'd give me these ugly sweaters. I remember there was a big old ugly V-necks, the big old wide ones of V. And I remember I would just leave it in my closet, because I just didn't like those sweaters,
Did
But
you get them?
no, this was my other grandma.
Animation gave me one time. I don't know if she. Oh no, she. I know my type.
That's my other grandma. She said, she give me those ugly sweaters. But I said, and I think, and I was thinking about this whole love thing, when I was just processing. And that's, like I said, it's the beauty. There's beauty in slowing down and thinking and processing things, processing life, going over the things that you've learned in life, going over the things that you've learned along the way. So now I was thinking, I said, every year my grandma would buy me these ugly sweaters that I really don't like, that I would never wear, because I know I didn't like them. But she never stopped to ask me not one time if I liked the sweater. Because if she had asked me, I'd have told her that I didn't like the sweater. But some people might say, well, it's just in the gift. Some people think that it's, when it comes to relationships, do you ever stop to ask that what it is that you're doing to somebody, if they actually like it or not? It's like, because to love somebody, truly love somebody, meaning that you're other centered, meaning that you want to do those things that's going to promote them, make them feel good on a higher level, and then they're going to do things. They're going to do it vice versa. They're going to do things to promote you on a higher level. So what you have then is, while you're focusing on them, they're focusing on you. Now you have a relationship.
It's funny.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. That makes total sense. But I have to add something to that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it might go against what you're saying, but then again, it's going to add to what you're saying. My grandpa, you remember that big old, the soup stuff he used to bring to everybody's house?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, you know what that stuff was, right? Mm-hmm. See, this is the thing that everybody didn't understand. Family members, if y'all watching, I see Tyrone, hey cousin Tyrone, I see you watching. Grandpa, there was a time when nobody in the family had money like that. They needed food. Now, my grandpa would get these big old totes from Pickles Pete's. Pickles Pete. And it was full. It was we call it beef stew. They called it a beef stew, but it wasn't a beef stew. You know what it was, right?
What was it?
Frankie, the cook, he used to cut all the fat off of the prime rib. I mean the prime rib, and off the briskets and stuff like that. And he would throw the fat inside his toast.
Really?
Then he had throw then he had these tomato paste that he was making for like something else. They didn't need, you made too much, so he'd throw that inside of that with that fat.
Mm-hmm.
Then he had old vegetables like greens, corn, peas, and all that. Instead of throwing it away, he just threw it in this big old tote. Because my grandpa said, don't throw it away because my family might need to eat. People in the family need to eat. So it's basically their trash. Like one man's trash was another man's treasure.
Right.
So grandpa would make sure he brought that to everybody.
Wow.
And everybody didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the time when grandpa came over there with all them big old bags of popcorn?
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember I'm talking about garbage bags of popcorn. Remember mixed popcorn?
Yeah.
Guess where you get them from? Got them from Harold's Supermarket. They were throwing it away because they got it from the popcorn place right next door to it.
Mm-hmm.
They were using their trash can. They would throw it in the bag and throw all that stuff in it, and they would throw all the cigarette butts and everything in that popcorn. We didn't know we was eating cigarette butts and all that stuff out of that popcorn bag.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Moretta, my Uncle Kenny, all of us know. We knew about it. Mm-hmm. We found out later.
Right.
But Grandpa said we don't throw away that because one man's junk is another man's treasure.
Right.
I wanted my kids to have something good. He gave us that popcorn. We was eating it like it wasn't nothing until we started seeing cigarette butts and stuff like that in it. Mm-hmm. We were like, what? But it didn't hurt us.
Right.
We were eating the trash from the trash from their food that they was throwing out. They just threw all the greens and the leftovers that they didn't want. They was throwing in this big old thing because my grandpa said, do not throw it away. Mm-hmm. I'll take it.
So what was Uncle JC not doing?
He didn't ask us.
No. What was he not doing? He wasn't robbing.
No, he wasn't robbing. He wasn't stealing.
He wasn't stealing.
Mm-hmm.
But he was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
He was taking the tortoise route.
And guess what? A lot of us didn't like that stew. Right. But we ended up had to eat it because we didn't have nothing. Because a lot of us we didn't have food. My mom most of our mothers were single mothers. Mm-hmm. Had more than one kid.
Right.
Like no good men.
Mm-hmm.
So that fed a lot of people.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So, and to go with what your grandma was doing, she probably was like, well, he might need a sweater. She might need an Ashley, but she might say, oh, he's going to need a sweater in the wintertime. So I'm going to make sure I get him this one. You know, so it's one of them teeter-totters of understanding. You know, yes, she should have came and said, you know, I'll never see you wear that. You know, do you like them?
And the only reason why,
I
know, and I get that. And I said, you know, the reason why I use that example is because, again, you know, sometimes we do things or say things to people and we offend them.
Yeah.
And we don't ever take the time to ask.
Exactly.
And it's important that you take the time to ask, you know, because sometimes you can offend somebody, they'll never tell you. You know, they'll walk away from that interaction and you'll never know why they're mad because they won't say anything to you, you know. And the thing is that it's like, you know, we have to, when it comes to being other-centered, we have to be willing to pay enough attention to someone, whoever it is that we're talking to, enough to pick up on not only their verbals, which is pretty direct, but their nonverbals, which communicates the most. 80% of our communication is nonverbal.
She would have paid attention. You never wore them when you came over there. She should have said, well, you know,
I'm gonna give him something different, you know. But and like I said, it wasn't that big of a deal. But what I'm saying, it was a lesson because it made me think about being other-centered. It made me think about, you know what? Take the time to pay attention to how something I might say, something I might do, something that I'm doing, how it's affecting somebody else.
And you know,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make good sense. Because I remember my mom was saying something. She said, I don't like buying the kids nothing because they don't like nothing I buy. Mm-hmm. So now she don't want to buy nothing because the grandchildren and all of us don't like what she likes. Mm-hmm. So, and the stuff that they probably want is expensive. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those. It's like I think it has to go hand in hand.
Well, I mean, but see, that's a sense. See, you don't. That's the all or none mindset. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so that's where a situation where you adjust. Okay, I may not be able to afford like exactly like Uncle JC. He says, well, I can't afford. I don't have the money, to feed the whole family. He said, but I'm gonna put my mind, I'm gonna use my mind to come up with something where everybody can eat. So in other words, so if you got all these grandkids, you can't afford to buy them the things they maybe want. So you said, you know what? I'll give you a gift card. I don't care if it's nothing but $10. I don't get, you see what I mean? They can take that $10 and put it toward what they want.
Yeah.
And so that they'll probably be more accepting of that. You see what I'm saying? Because they see the effort in it. And again, it's just that it's
especially
those,
when you got so many grandkids.
yeah, because you can't afford that. So you're just like, you know what? I'll do, if $5, $5, $10,
$5 McDonald's card.
yeah, just like right, so just
it's always something. It's always ways you can, or you can say this year I'm gonna do 2 of y'all.
Yes.
Next year I'm gonna do 2 of you.
Right.
2 of y'all. Then
right.
It's always ways.
There's a way.
When there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly. And that's the thing. But because if you just say, well, it's just like, well, I'm not gonna do nothing at all. Well, then, now that's worse.
Yes.
It's worse than doing something. It's like every little step matters, and this is something that I've learned in life is that all those little steps add up to big steps. Yeah. But you have to be willing to take the small steps. The turtle understood the beauty and the value in the small steps. Yeah. Because at any point, if he could have looked at the rabbit and said, you know what, that rabbit's so much faster than me, you know what, I'm just going to quit. Yeah. Because there's no need to be in this race. I'm just going to quit. You know what, rabbit, you can have it. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? But exactly. But guess what? He didn't do that. He said, you know what, I'm gonna give what I do have. Okay, I'm gonna do what I can, and by him doing what he could, he won the race.
You know what? That's my memory. Remember when we was growing up, that little engine
the little engine that could. I think I can. You're right.
No matter how small that engine was, it had to pull that big old car.
Right.
And it said, "I think I can. I think I can." Then it said, "I think I can." It said, "I know I can. I know I can."
Right.
I know I can.
And that in and of itself was speaking to mindset.
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't understand that then.
Yeah, we did.
I was like, I think I can. It reminds me back the day when my mom used to. She gave me this when I was into music, and she gave me this. I had this little cassette tape, and I played my little tape recorder. And there was a little song that I always played, and it was in the little song. It would say, "Practice makes perfect." Practice made. It was a song. I can't remember all the words, but
we used to break that.
Huh?
We used to sit down. Remember, we got tired of watching everybody beat us break. We used to sit in our rooms,
practice. Yeah,
fight moves,
practice,
and try to perfect your own self. So,
exactly. So there's, like I said, there's a benefit. Does somebody have a comment?
No.
Okay.
Just make sure.
So,
but there's a lot of that's why I like these shows because we actually able to reminisce.
Yes.
At the same time that we educate.
Right.
Because this really helps me. You teaching me a whole lot about myself. Me going because you make me go deep back into when I was young. A lot of the mistakes that I was making. Then I look at today and I'm like, damn man, I came a long way. Compared to where I used to be. I'm like, man, you know what? That is powerful. You know what I mean? So I know there's a God because if I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for him.
Man, don't get me going. Don't do it.
Don't
get me going. I just thinking about that day, when I think about the mistakes that I've made in my life, things that I wish I had done different, and I'm not gonna go into a whole lot of detail. I'm just gonna simply say this. We all have regrets. We all, no matter who's listening, people who will maybe hear this later on, like you said earlier, nobody's perfect. Everybody walks with a band in their back. Everybody has made mistakes. Everybody has things that they wish they could have done different or whatever the case may be. But I would like to encourage you with this. First of all, I always just take a minute to give God praise for the grace that he provided me while I was learning. Because I didn't deserve it, but yet he gave it to me. He loved me in such a special way that he allowed me to learn. Now I can look back and I can appreciate the things that I learned. You know, it's because of the things that I've been through that I can be the husband that I am. It's because of the things that I've been through that I can be the father that I am. It's because of the things that I've been through that I can be all the other hats that I wear in my life to be what I am. And now I have something that every time I sit down with a young person, I have a story to share with them because of what I've been through. You know, when they say, man, this, that, or that, this is going on in my life and that's going on in my life, I can encourage them and encourage them to make it through because, you know, I say, hey, I made it through. And you know what? I bet you can make it. I bet you can make it through. You know, it doesn't that, you know, that mistake doesn't have to be your end all. You know, you can keep pushing, you know, little by little and make it out of that hole. You know, sometimes we think the holes that we didn't fell in are holes that we probably should have stayed in or that we didn't, you know, we didn't deserve to make it out of that hole. I mean, we talk about a lot of things. You know, we were growing up, you know, situations that we shouldn't have made it out of, but yet, you know, sometimes when I hear stories, and you know, you watch the news, this, that, and the other, of people who didn't make it out of things, same situations that we found ourselves in, you know, but we were able to live and tell the story, you know, even that's a great job. But I just say, you know, don't allow whatever things that you've done, whatever mistakes that you've made to discourage you. Like you can't move forward, that you don't deserve to move forward, because you do. It's just a matter of a simple change in mindset and a simple appreciation for your journey. We all have a journey, you know, and so appreciate your journey and what your journey has contributed to your life. Look back, take a closer look, learn whatever you've learned from your journey and apply it. And it's as simple as that. You know, take the turtle's journey, you know. I'm sure the turtle, as he was running along, you know, trotting along, he saw a lot of things, you know, because he was going so slow, you know. But the thing is that he got there, and not only did he get there, but he won.
And guess what? He probably had a lot of people encouraging him to keep going.
Right.
And with the rabbit didn't have time. He was too fast. So nobody got
smoking past everybody.
But nobody had a chance to say anything to him.
Mm-mm.
You know.
So he missed a lot of lessons because nobody had to say nothing to him.
Yeah.
Could nobody say anything to him?
100%.
Yeah.
And that's why I like, like I said, when we was growing up, man, I just think about all the stuff we've been through growing up. You know, things that I could have landed in prison for the rest of my life. You know, things that kept me out of prison. Mm-hmm. You know, voices in my ears. You know, I always had those voices in my ears. Oh man, I just want to say, I just say that, you know, I'm glad that I got out. But you know, when Grandpa told me that one time, he said, "Boy, you know how you do that noise. You need to get out that fast lane, boy, and look at the scenery." Never did understand what he said. Yeah. Never got it. And one day, something happened. I paid attention. I was driving when I was married. I was driving from Tennessee to Omaha. We was coming back. We drove here 3 times. Tennessee to Omaha, 3 times. And we would just be trying to drive to get there, you know, to get here, you know. And one time we decided to drive slow. We said we were going to take a time. We'll stay at the hotel a couple times if we had to. We ain't going to be trying to get there all fast. And we started noticing little stuff
that you never noticed before.
We never knew it, and that's when that Grandpa thing came in my ear. You know, you need to start paying attention. You know, get in the slow lane. You'll pay attention. You'll see things that you didn't think about. Then it started as that was dawning on me. It was dawning on me about my whole life. You know, remember I told you I went into that asylum for 2 years after my friend got killed when the guy tried to kill me. Mm-hmm. So that was going through my head too. So I'm going through that mindset, thinking about all that while we driving, thinking about me paralyzing that dude when I did, you know, back in the day. Things that happened, I just say it like that. Mm-hmm. Things that happened in my life that I regret. Yeah. And I had to, you know, and I remember when that judge told me one time when I went in front of him, he said,
you know, you look like you get away with a lot of stuff. He didn't say stuff, he said shit.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you look like you get away with a lot of shit, but this time I'm gonna make sure you don't get away with that. He said, I'm gonna give you a couple years to make you think about some things. And it was nothing but a misdemeanor.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me a couple years for a misdemeanor. I ended up doing a year, and then I ended up doing 6 months, and then I ended up getting work release, and I had to be on probation for the rest for
The remainder of the time.
but it was just one of those things that he said that to me. I'm like, how did he figure I gave away with a lot of stuff? He don't know what I was doing in my life, but he just assumed that I knew how to talk. I was this debonair guy. I don't know what he thought about me. I don't know what impression he had of me. But when he said that to me, it made me start to think. I said, man, maybe it's something I'm a whore I'm putting out. Because he really told me he wanted to give me more time, but it was a misdemeanor, so he couldn't give me he only could give me what he could give me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was like, wow, I'm like, wow. So I got to change. So I was like, nigga, if I get back in front of this guy, he's gonna tear me up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I said, oh no, I'm getting out of this thing. No, I got out of that thing. And then when my mom, then when I was sitting in jail, it's funny because my mom cared about me so much, she tried to pay some inmates to look after me. And when she went and paid the inmate to look after me, the dudes came to me and was like, hey man, hey Mike, man, I didn't want to tell your mom, but man, you don't need nobody to look after you. You can handle yourself. He said, but man, she's giving us free meals and putting a little money in our book. I lie you not, man. That hurt my pride at the moment because I'm like, I'm trying to pay some dudes to look after me for. I said, man, I'm sitting there. These guys already know it. They know that. I'm not. They know I'm not. But when my mom did that, I was sitting there like, wow. It was just an honor that the guys came to me and told me, and they said, man, we can give it back, man. I said, no, go ahead. My mom's gonna take care of you. Go ahead. I said, don't worry about it, man. They was getting extra, but don't take her money. Just take the extra meals and the free meals. Mom was a lieutenant now, so. I said, if they give you extra meals and stuff like that, go ahead and take that. Free showers, extra showers, whatever. Go ahead and do what she's gonna give you. I said, but don't take her money. So that was a blessing. But it hurt me. But I always thought about that. That's why I knew right then and there God was already touching me. He was telling me, no man, this ain't your place. This ain't what you need to be. So I had to change my mindset, change the way I thought.
Get out that fast
life. Start being a better man.
Slow things down.
Pay attention.
Learn.
Apply. Things that I hated. Yeah, but it was just funny, man. Because at that time, my oldest son, I wasn't in his life. I was locked up all the time. And my second oldest, I wasn't in his life, and my daughter wasn't in their life. So it was just like 3 generations right there. They're not 3 generations, but they all about three. And I just said, oh man, I got to change this. So, but I still went to that stage where I still wasn't shit. I'm just hate to say it. I'm just saying the way I'm saying it. I wasn't nothing because I was too busy still trying to find myself. And man,
it wasn't until you slowed down.
Now I have a great relationship with my sons. They call me, want to talk to me, Dad, and we have these conversations. Me and my daughter. It's beautiful now. It's beautiful. And then my money wasn't right then. Now it's better. Way better. So it just I was have it one minute, don't have it. You got those spells where you got a lot of money, the next minute you don't. Now I'm doing great. So I'm just blessed. And everything's legal. I don't got to do nothing illegal. I ain't got to do nothing. And I got my cousin. I never dreamed that we was gonna be sitting there doing podcasts together.
We should sit at Burger King. We were growing up.
Yeah. But I never thought that I would
Yeah.
be sitting here doing this with
No.
my cousin.
Right. You're right.
You know what I mean? I
Right.
never even thought that we would be sitting here having this, educating our family and educating our community.
Yeah.
I never thought that would be about, and then educating each other.
Yeah. 100%.
That's the blessing part of it.
Yes,
We
it is.
educate each other.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that's what keeps my battery charged.
Likewise. Likewise.
Well, it's, it's about the time for us to close it up. This was this is a beautiful thing, man. You touched my heart today, man. I had little tears coming in my eye thinking about all the stuff I did, man. And I'm here with my cousin.
I want to read some of these other ones. I know we didn't.
Okay,
We touched on them all, but I'm just going to read them because I think they're good. So the moral of the story is for us to all learn.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be greedy. Be happy with what you have. Think twice before speaking or acting.
Mm-hmm.
Always tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Never give up. Try and try, and you will surely get success one day. Where there is a will, there is always a way.
Yeah. Amen. Yes. Yes. Oh, okay. Well, what is your final thought, sir?
And I think we just said it. I mean, you just pretty much, I think we just summed it up right there. I mean, in reality, where there's a will, there's a way. But most importantly, the takeaway is just slow things down, learn. Don't be in such a hurry, and take the time to be other centered. You'll learn a lot that way.
Yeah. And I just want to say that we all made bad choices, and we all still making them. But you can't continue when we got children in our path that we're trying to influence. We got to be careful what we put in front of them. We got to be mindful of who we bring around them. We got to be mindful because this ain't just about us adults. This is for the children too. And if we want to see a better generation, we have to change the diets that we got to change the food that we eat in front of them. Our diet has to be very strict. It has to be a strict diet on how we deal with what we bring around them. Because I'm watching our children. I just posted a video where they had the little girl saying, the mother said, well, I'm going to let you speak. I'm going to let you cuss. You only can cuss on this time, and I'm going to let you cuss. And the little girl's probably about like 3 or 2 years old. And she shut the door, and she told the little girl, you can cuss as long as you want, but after this, you can't do it anymore. So as soon as she shut the door, the little girl said, fetch.
That's not funny.
It ain't funny.
I'm not going to laugh.
The little girl was so cute, but it hurt me because I'm like, that's a learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
She got that from who she's been hearing.
Yeah.
And if we as parents if we talk about we love our children so much,
teach them
why
right.
are we keep putting stuff in front of them that's gonna do them harm?
Exactly. Teach them right.
Raise up a child right, and if they depart from it, they know where to come back to.
Exactly.
We have to teach them, and you have to be an example to your children. I was in them streets. I never brought that around my kids. Never. My kids can tell you this from the day. I never brought nothing in front of my kids. Never. They didn't know what I was out there doing.
Mm-hmm.
My brothers and sisters didn't even know what I was doing. You didn't even know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So these are important things that you have to understand. When you actually doing something, you don't put it in front of your family, in front of your kids and stuff like that, because everybody don't need to know what you're doing when you're in the dark, when you're accepting Satan's tools, devices. Everybody don't need to know how Satan got a hold of you. Because he did have a hold of me. And I didn't want everybody to know what Satan had a hold of me. Now, when God's got a hold of me, I want everybody to know. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that. But you know, as I say, we us and ours, love, life, and loyalty.
Peace.
Well,